Did you know there's a way to protect yourself emotionally and spiritually, no matter what's happening around you? Imagine for a moment that you can live with such a strong, stable inner peace that no word, glance, or negative situation can shake that power. It's not a dream, it's a reality. And the best part is, you don't need anything external to achieve it, because everything you need is already within you. But here's the mystery that few people manage to grasp. It's not about ignoring what's happening around you, or pretending that everything is fine. It's not about willpower or constantly fighting against what you feel. The secret lies in learning to transform your inner world by discovering how your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs shape what you see and experience every day. Perhaps you've wondered why some people seem to navigate the toughest moments with impressive calm, while others feel overwhelmed even in normal situations. The answer is simple. Reality isn't something objective. Everything we perceive is tinted by the emotions and beliefs we carry within us. If you harbor fear or resentment in your heart, your world will reflect that. But when you begin to see emotions as allies rather than enemies, when you dare to change from the inside, today, I'm going to show you how to start this process. You'll discover how to transform negative emotions into signals for growth, how to remain calm even amidst chaos, and how to see every experience from a completely different perspective. Are you ready to take the first step toward unwavering inner peace? Before we go on, make sure to like this video and subscribe, because what follows has the potential to transform your life forever. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why some people seem to move through life with an unshakable calm, while others appear caught in a constant whirlwind of emotions, conflicts, and struggles? Considering the people who face the same reality as you, yet manage to move forward with a calmness that seems almost magical, today, I want to reveal something to you that has the power to transform the way you experience the world. Not from the outside, but from within. We're not here to talk about magic formulas or temporary escape routes, but about a profound change, a change that begins with understanding an essential truth. The reality you perceive is not objective. Everything you see, feel, and experience is filtered by what you carry within you, by your beliefs, your emotions, and your thoughts. Imagine that you are wearing gray-tinted glasses. Every landscape, every person, even the most authentic moments of joy appear muted by this filter. Now, imagine that these glasses represent your emotions. How could your experience of life be different if you could remove these glasses and see the world as it truly is? The human psyche is a vast and fascinating territory. Carl Jung, the renowned philosopher and psychoanalyst, described it as a set of layers. Our superficial consciousness lies above a vast subconscious that operates in the background, influencing every thought and perception. According to him, what we do not make conscious becomes our destiny. What does this mean? That everything you ignore within yourself, like your unprocessed emotions or limiting beliefs, does not simply disappear. On the contrary, it projects into the external world, creating a reality that seems beyond your control. Take the example of fear, that fear that infiltrates your days, disguised as insecurity, doubt, or avoidance. Perhaps you feel it when thinking about that project you desire, yet fear you won't succeed. Or maybe it creeps in every time you have a difficult conversation with someone important to you. Jung taught us that emotions, like fear, are not enemies, but disguised teachers. Every time fear arises, it signals a belief you hold within you, something you need to take a closer look at. However, here's the mistake many make. We fight against our emotions. When we feel fear, we suppress it. When we feel sadness, we hide it behind a smile. But suppressing an emotion is like trying to hide the sun with a finger. Instead of disappearing, it grows. It's like a pressure cooker. The more you resist, the more intense it becomes, until it explodes. Now, imagine a storm. The wind howls, the rain hits hard, and the sky darkens. You brace yourself against the storm, struggling against the wind, trying to stop the rain with your hand. But the more you fight, the more exhausted you become. Instead, what if you just stopped? Simply observe and let the storm pass. This is the power of accepting your emotions, not in resignation, but with curiosity. The next time you feel a negative emotion, Pause. Take a moment, take a deep breath. Instead of judging this emotion as something bad or trying to push it away, just observe it. Ask yourself, what is it trying to tell me? What message is here for me? By allowing yourself to feel without resisting, something magical happens. The intensity of the emotion begins to fade, and the message it brings reveals itself. Sadness, for example, often indicates that something needs to be released, perhaps an unmet expectation or a relationship that has come to an end. Fear, on the other hand, reflects limiting beliefs. I'm not enough. I won't succeed. I don't deserve this. And anger, that fiery spark that we often try to extinguish quickly, is a reminder that your boundaries are being ignored or trampled upon. When you start to see your emotions as allies, the outside world changes too. Remember, everything you see outside is a reflection of what you carry inside. Changing your internal perception radically transforms your experience of life. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you're facing an uncomfortable situation, like a disagreement with a loved one, before reacting automatically. Imagine this scene as if you were an outside observer, someone who sees everything from the outside without judgment. Ask yourself, what am I sensing here? What belief or internal emotion is influencing my reaction? This exercise, though simple, sends a powerful message to your subconscious. You are not a victim of circumstances. You have the control. Jung believed in what he called the silent observer, a part of our consciousness that is not swept away by emotions or external situation. This part of you is like a lighthouse in the storm, constant, steadfast, illuminating even the darkest moments. When you operate from this space of awareness, criticism, conflicts, and difficulties lose their power over you. You discover an inner peace that nothing and no one can disturb. But how do you live from this perspective? The key lies in the present, not in the past with its weight of regrets and memories, nor in the future, burdened with uncertainty and worry. Here and now is where your power resides. By staying in the present, problems lose their charge, difficulties become manageable, and you can act with clarity, not out of fear or reactivity. Imagine you're holding a heavy stone. This stone represents the resentment, pain, or beliefs you've accumulated over the years. You keep carrying it because you think you need it. But if you just let it drop, how would it feel to walk without that weight? That's the power of releasing what no longer serves you. It's not about forgetting or ignoring the past, but about deciding that it will no longer have power over your present. The journey towards a life of inner peace begins by accepting that you have control, not over what happens outside, but over how you perceive it and how you react. The question is, are you ready to take off the tinted glasses and see the world with clarity? Take a moment to consider what it would be like to live without that constant internal battle that seems to accompany you day after day. Without those thoughts that arise like background noise, reminding you of past mistakes or painting scenarios of uncertainty for the future. The mind, though powerful, can be a tool that builds or an obstacle that destroys, depending on how you interact with it. Jung said that confronting ourselves is one of the greatest challenges, but also the path to true freedom. In every negative emotion you feel, whether it's fear, sadness, or anger, there's a part of you that seeks to be heard. Ignoring or repressing it won't make it disappear. It's like a closed door that continues to draw your attention until you decide to open it and discover what's behind it. Imagine that each of these emotions is like a compass. Fear points to something you need to explore, sadness to something you need to let go of, and anger to boundaries you need to reaffirm. But how can we read this compass without getting lost in the chaos of its intensity? The key lies in the pause, in stopping at the exact moment when the emotion appears and in observing it. Do it this way. The next time you feel anger, instead of reacting immediately, take a deep breath, close your eyes for a moment, and visualize this emotion like a wave in the ocean. It rises forcefully, seems imposing, but over time it calms down. This wave isn't you. It's just energy passing through your body. This little exercise allows you to connect with your inner observer, That part of you Jung described as the silent consciousness. It observes without judgment. This state of observation is like a refuge. In it, you can see the whirlwind of emotions without being swept away by them. From this perspective, there are no good or bad feelings, just messages that help you understand yourself better. The more you know yourself, the clearer you are about what you truly want, what you need to let go of, and where you need to direct your steps. Have you ever noticed that certain beliefs seem to repeat, like patterns in your life? Perhaps you grew up hearing phrases like, "Life is hard," or "Success isn't for everyone." Without realizing it, these ideas have become the tinted glasses through which you see the world. Now, here's something fascinating. When you start questioning those beliefs, you realize they're just stories that you've been telling yourself for years. And like any story, you can rewrite it. For instance, if you've ever thought that you're not good enough to achieve a certain goal, ask yourself, where does that idea come from? Is it really mine, or did I inherit it from someone else? This simple act of questioning begins to weaken those limiting beliefs and opens you up to the possibility of a new narrative. When you change the story you tell yourself about who you are, you change your external reality. Think about it. If you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start believing that you have the power to transform what happens to you, the world responds differently. Not because things magically become perfect, but because you now have control over how you interpret them. Imagination plays a crucial role in this process. Jung emphasized the importance of visualization, using the mind not only to remember the past or plan for the future, but as a creative tool to shape the present time. For example, if you're facing a challenging situation, close your eyes and imagine what it would be like to see it from a different perspective. Visualize the problem resolving itself, not with anxiety, but with calmness. This act is not just a mental exercise, but a direct message to your subconscious, showing it that there is a way out. This is where the power of positive emotions comes in. We're not talking about ignoring negative emotions, but balancing them. Gratitude, for example, has a transformative effect. When you start focusing on the things you're grateful for, even the smallest ones, your mind shifts its frequency. It's like tuning a radio station. The noise of negativity begins to fade, and a sense of peace emerges. Change doesn't happen overnight, but every small step counts. Every time you choose to breathe instead of react, to observe rather than judge, to be grateful rather than complain, you are reprogramming your mind to experience life from a completely new perspective. Imagine your life as a river. Sometimes the currents can be strong or even turbulent, and it seems like you might be swept away. But when you learn to let go and go with the flow instead of fighting against it, you discover that the river takes you exactly where you need to be. What if you trusted this process? True power doesn't lie in controlling everything that happens, but in how you choose to respond to it. What happens when you stop seeing the world as something that's against you and start seeing it as a mirror reflecting your inner state? This is where true transformation begins. Curiosity becomes your best ally. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this emotion? What part of me needs more attention right now? This act of exploring, rather than resisting, leads you to a deeper understanding of yourself and allows you to move forward with a clarity that once seemed unreachable. As you continue this journey, a question begins to emerge. What if everything you've experienced so far, even the toughest moments, has been part of a perfect plan to bring you to where you need to be? Perhaps every emotion, every challenge, every misstep has just been an opportunity to sharpen your understanding of yourself and discover the immense power that has always been within you. Your quest for a life of greater peace, clarity, and connection continues here. So what do you do when you realize that the root of your challenges lies within you? How do you change those old stories you've been telling yourself about who you are and what you deserve? Imagine your mind as a garden. Every belief, emotion, and thought is a seed. Some seeds have been planted by you, while others have come from outside. Comments from your parents, experiences at school, criticism at work. If you don't pay attention, the garden grows in a disordered way. Weeds, dry shrubs, and wilted flowers begin to take over. But if you decide to become the conscious gardener of your mental garden, something powerful happens. You start to remove what no longer serves you and plant what you truly want to see flourish. Jung spoke about the importance of integrating what he called the shadow, that part of us we avoid, our insecurities, our fears, or our repressed desires. Ignoring them doesn't make them disappear. On the contrary, they grow in the darkness. But when you dare to face that shadow and accept it as part of you, holds hidden treasures. It's like opening an old dusty chest and finding a treasure you had forgotten. This process may seem overwhelming at first. After all, who wants to confront their own wounds? But here's the key. It's not about resolving everything immediately, but taking small steps one at a time. Think of a constant drop of water that can carve even the hardest stone. Every little decision, every moment of self-reflection is a drop that transforms your inner world. For example, a practice that can help you is writing. Spend a few minutes each day writing down how you feel without any filters. Let your thoughts flow like a river. It doesn't matter if what you write seems confused or repetitive. What matters is that you allow those emotions to find an outlet. Often, at the end of this writing, you'll realize that what seemed like an emotional monster was actually just a passing cloud. And speaking of clouds, here's a metaphor that illustrates this perfectly. Imagine your emotions are like the weather. There are sunny days, cloudy days, and storms. But no matter the intensity of the weather, the sky is always there, constant and vast. That sky is you. Emotions, like storms, pass by. Knowing that you are not the storms, but the sky that contains them, is a shift in perspective that gives you a sense of calm and control. This understanding also transforms how you interact with others. Think about how many times you've interpreted someone's actions as a personal attack. Maybe someone didn't respond to you, made a comment that hurt you, or acted unexpectedly. Our tendency is to react and assume it's personal. But what if it isn't? What if that person's behavior simply reflects their own internal struggles? When you start seeing others as mirrors, something incredible happens. You stop feeling like a victim of their actions. Instead of reacting, you choose to respond with understanding, or at least with neutrality. This doesn't mean accepting harmful behaviors, but recognizing that how others act rarely has anything to do with you, and much more to do with what they're going through themselves. This is where the power of setting clear boundaries comes into play. Anger, as we've mentioned before, often arises when we allow others to cross lines we should have drawn. But setting boundaries doesn't have to be an act of confrontation. It can be an act of self-love. It's like building a fence around that mental garden we talked about earlier. Not to exclude others, but to protect what you're cultivating within yourself. And this raises an important question. What would your life look like if you could interact with others from a place of calm, clarity, and confidence? Carl Jung spoke of individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are without the masks the world expects you to wear. This journey to your authenticity not only transforms your relationship with yourself, but also with those around you. A practical tool to move forward in this process is visualization. Every morning, before starting your day, close your eyes and visualize how you want your interactions with the world to be. Imagine how you would feel facing challenges with serenity, responding to criticism with firmness, but without aggression, and approaching each situation with the confidence that you can handle it. This practice not only prepares your mind, but also sends a powerful message to your subconscious. You are in control. The subconscious is like a silent co-pilot that directs much of your life without you realizing it. It's where your habits, fears, and deepest beliefs are stored. But here's the good news. It can be reprogrammed every time you choose to respond rather than react, to be thankful instead of complaining. By letting go of a limiting belief, you change that internal program. This brings us to a profound truth. You are not a prisoner of your past, no matter how difficult it has been. Jung said that what we need most is found in the places we least want to look. Every wound, every mistake, every painful experience contains the seed of something greater. If you're willing to explore these places with patience and curiosity, you will discover a potential within yourself that you didn't even know existed. The journey to inner peace is neither linear nor instantaneous. There will be days when you feel you've made progress and others when it seems like you've taken a step back. But even those tough moments are part of the process. Remember, bamboo takes years to grow underground before its first shoot appears. But once it emerges, it grows quickly and strong. You too are cultivating something powerful, even if you can't fully see it yet. Imagine for a moment what it would be like to wake up each day with a sense of lightness, knowing that no matter what happens, you have the tools to handle it. This is not a distant dream. It's something you can build step by step. And on this path, you will find that true strength does not come from controlling the outside world, but from navigating your inner world with wisdom and compassion. So what will you do with this new opportunity? How will you choose to navigate your life from now on? The answers are within you, waiting to be discovered. Imagine for a moment that you could see your life as a constantly flowing river. There are times when the water flows gently, others when the currents become swift and intense, and some when it feels like you're caught in a whirlpool with no escape. Yet even amidst this chaos, the river keeps moving forward, naturally seeking its course. So it is with your life, a journey where every experience, even the hardest ones, leads you to a place of greater understanding and connection with yourself. Jung said that what we fear most to look at within ourselves is often the key that unlocks the door to our liberation. It may seem abstract, but in reality, it's very simple. Think about it. Every time you face something uncomfortable, a difficult conversation, an intense emotion, or a painful memory, you have two options. You can keep avoiding it, and it will eventually turn into stress or illness, or you can confront it with curiosity and courage, discovering what it's trying to teach you. It's like a knot in a rope. If you try to force it open, it will only tighten. But if you stop, observe it, and begin to unravel it patiently, little by little, it loosens. Your emotions and internal conflicts work the same way. They don't need to be forced. They need to be understood. One powerful exercise you can try is internal dialogue. When you feel overwhelmed, close your eyes and talk to yourself as you would with a close friend. Ask yourself, what's happening? What do I need right now? What can I learn from this? This simple act of communicating with yourself shifts the dynamic. Instead of feeling trapped by your emotions, you begin to feel like the observer who can manage them. And that's when something fascinating occurs. When you start asking yourself these kinds of questions, you discover that many of your answers were already within you. This doesn't mean you never need external support, but that you possess more inner wisdom than you realized. It's like rediscovering a map you've always had with you, but had forgotten to consult. Another key aspect of this process is learning to trust the present moment. How many times have you wasted hours, days, or even weeks worrying about things that never happened? Jung talked about how the human mind tends to project its fears into the future, like we're building sandcastles on potential problems. But the reality is that the only time that truly exists is now. The present is like a blank page. In this moment, you have the power to decide what you write on it. No matter what you've written on the previous pages of your life, what matters is what you choose to put on this one. And the most amazing part is that every little change you make now becomes the foundation for a more conscious and connected future. Think about something as simple as your breath. Most people don't pay attention to their breathing, but when you stop and take a deep breath, something changes. It's like pressing a reset button on your nervous system. This simple action grounds you in the present, reduces mental noise, and brings you back to the here and now. Breathing is also a reminder of something deeper. The flow of life continues always, even in your toughest moments. When everything seems to stop, breathing continues. It's a symbol of resilience, a reminder that there's always something within you that knows how to move forward, even when you think you can't. The more you practice this connection with the present moment, the more you start to notice the little things that went unnoticed before. The smile of a stranger, the sunlight filtering through the leaves, the sound of the wind. These things, although they seem insignificant, are constant reminders that there is beauty even in the darkest days. When you shift your attention to these little things, you also change the energy you project into the world. And this brings us to another important point. The energy you carry within you affects how you experience everything around you. If you harbor fear or resentment, the mirror will reflect situations that amplify those emotions. But if you start to cultivate gratitude, patience, and self-love, the reflection changes, not because the outside world has magically transformed, but because your perception of it has shifted. That is the true power of transforming your inner world. You don't need to wait for external circumstances to be perfect to find peace. You can discover it right here, within yourself, no matter what's happening around you. It's like realizing you've always had a safe haven to return to at any moment, regardless of how strong the storm outside may be. And as you continue to explore this path, you might also ask yourself, what would your life look like if every decision, every interaction, and every moment were guided by a sense of calm and purpose? The answer to these questions isn't in the future or the past. It's right here, waiting to be discovered in every breath, in every small step toward a greater awareness of who you are and all that you can become. Now imagine that each thought and emotion that arises within you is like an actor on a stage. Some come in strong, raising their voices, demanding all your attention. Others remain quiet in the shadows, influencing the play without you even realizing it. But you are neither the lead actor nor the script that unfolds. You are the director, the one who has the ability to observe the entire scene and decide how the story is told. Carl Jung spoke of this observer role, that part of our consciousness that doesn't get lost in emotions or thoughts, but looks at them from a broader perspective. It's like being in a theater. Instead of being swept away by each scene, you sit in the front row and watch the show with curiosity. This shift in perspective may seem subtle, but it completely transforms how you experience life. When you adopt this role of observer, something wonderful happens. Things lose their overwhelming intensity. A problem that seemed gigantic shrinks back to its true size. An emotion that felt endless begins to flow. It's not about avoiding what you feel, but rather a way to connect with your thoughts and emotions from a place of calm, thereby strengthening your inner power. A simple example to practice this is to pause for a few seconds at any moment of the day and do an internal scan. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What thought is occupying my mind? Don't try to change anything, just observe. This little exercise trains you to be more aware of your inner world, giving you greater clarity on how to act in the world. And there's something important to remember. You don't need to have all the answers right now. Life is not a race toward a specific destination. It's a journey of continuous discovery. In this journey, every step matters, even those that seem small or insignificant. Let's consider an example from nature. A seed buried in the darkness of the soil doesn't rush to grow. Its process is slow but steady. It absorbs nutrients, seeks water, and eventually breaks through the ground to reach the light. Your transformation process is similar. No matter how long it takes, what matters is that you keep nourishing yourself and moving forward. This idea of moving forward, even in the toughest times, is also connected to how you choose to respond to the circumstances of life. Often, when something doesn't go as planned, you may feel like the world is against you. But what if you could see these challenges as disguised opportunities? For example, imagine a closed door in front of you. You can feel frustrated that you can't get through it, or you can ask yourself what other possibilities might be opening up around you. Perhaps there's a window you hadn't noticed, or an alternate path leading you to an even better place. This shift in how you perceive difficulties not only reduces stress, but also activates your creativity to find solutions. The more you practice this perspective, the easier it becomes to apply it to all aspects of your life. Think about it. If every difficult situation was an invitation to grow, how would that change your relationship with problems? Perhaps you would begin to see them not as obstacles, but as steps towards something greater. Jung said that what we call destiny is merely the sum of our choices. Every decision you make, no matter how small, shapes the path you follow. This doesn't mean you have to make perfect decisions all the time, but that you have the power to choose how to respond to what life presents you without. And this is where one of the most powerful tools at your disposal comes in: intention. When you start your day with a clear intention, is like setting a course for your boat on the open sea. You may not be able to control the strength of the wind or the waves, but you can adjust your sails to reach your destination. One exercise you can try is to spend a few minutes each morning defining your intention. It can be something simple, like, "Today, I choose to act with patience," or "Today, I allow myself to be present in each moment." This practice not only helps you focus, but also reminds you that you have control over how you choose to experience your day. It's interesting to see how these small daily actions can accumulate over time, creating significant change in your life. It's like a drop of water continuously falling on a stone. At first, the change is almost imperceptible, but over time, that drop has the power to shape even the hardest stone. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed by life, remember that you are not alone on this journey. You have within you the ability to navigate through any storm, to find peace even amidst chaos, and to transform every challenge into an opportunity for growth. True transformation doesn't happen overnight, but every step you take toward greater awareness and connection with yourself brings you closer to the life you truly want to live. As you move along this path toward a more mindful life, it's natural to wonder, how can I stay consistent when things seem to be falling apart? The answer lies in remembering that you're not battling the outside world, but rather nurturing a deeper relationship with yourself. It all starts with small moments of presence, those times when you choose to pause amidst the external noise and simply be with yourself. Imagine that each day is like a blank page the universe hands you. It can be filled with challenges, commitments, and responsibilities, but it also holds infinite possibilities. You decide how to fill it, how to add color and meaning. Jung said that meaning isn't something we find, but something we create. This means that no matter what's happening around you, you can always find purpose within yourself. A key step to maintaining this connection is learning to let go of what you can't control. How many times have you spent hours or even days worrying about something that was completely out of your control? It's like carrying a heavy suitcase on a journey filled with things you don't need. Letting go doesn't mean giving up, but freeing yourself from what drains your energy without giving anything back. Try this exercise. Visualize all your worries as stones you carry in a backpack. Now, imagine you come to a river. One by one, take those stones and throw them into the water. Watch as they disappear beneath the current. Without the weight of your empty backpack, this visualization may seem simple, but its power lies in reminding you that you always have the option to release what no longer serves you. As you practice this letting go, something incredible starts to happen. You discover space for new things, space for joy, for curiosity, for exploring aspects of yourself you may have forgotten. It's like cleaning a cluttered room and realizing there were windows you hadn't noticed before, allowing fresh light to pour in. This light also reflects in your relationships. When you free yourself from expectations and unnecessary burdens, you can present yourself to others from a more authentic place. Think about the conversations you've had with friends or family members. How many of them are influenced by old wounds, fears, or resentments? What if you could interact with them from a space of clarity and understanding? Jung spoke about how our relationships are mirrors, reflecting parts of ourselves that we need to understand. If someone triggers frustration in you, ask yourself, what part of me feels affected by this? Not to blame yourself, but to discover what this interaction is trying to teach you. This act of introspection can transform even the most strained conflicts into opportunities for growth. Moreover, as you begin to understand yourself better, you also develop more compassion for others. You realize that everyone, like you, struggles with their own internal battles. This doesn't mean you justify harmful behaviors, but you can respond with more empathy and less judgment. It's like seeing someone carry a suitcase as heavy as the one you used to carry. You can choose to be a source of support rather than adding more weight. A fundamental aspect of this process is learning to celebrate your own progress, no matter how small. Perhaps today you became aware of a pattern you hadn't noticed before. Maybe you chose to respond with calm instead of reacting with anger. Each of these steps is a victory that deserves to be acknowledged. Life isn't about reaching an unattainable perfection, but about embracing the process of becoming the best version of yourself, day by day. It's like sculpting a statue. Every chisel stroke, even the ones that seem clumsy or wrong, contributes to revealing the masterpiece that has always been there, waiting to be discovered. As you continue to move forward, remember that you are not alone on this path. Many people are waking up to this same quest for internal connection, clarity, and purpose. Everyone has their own pace, facing their own challenges, but sharing the common desire to live a more fulfilling and conscious life. And if you ever feel like you're losing your way, come back to your breath, to that constant anchor that connects you to the present. Each inhale is a reminder that you are alive, that you have the power to choose, that you can create something beautiful even in the toughest moments. True change isn't measured by grand transformations overnight, but by those small moments when you choose to move forward with intention, patience, and love for yourself. So, what will you do when you decide to live from that deep connection within? The answer is within you. As you explore this path, you'll discover that your relationship with yourself directly impacts every aspect of your life. The decisions you make, the relationships you build, everything is influenced by that internal dialogue you have every day. What do you tell yourself when no one is listening? Are those words filled with support, patience, and trust? Or are they tinged with criticism and doubt? This means that what you allow to remain hidden in your mind, the limiting beliefs, the unexpressed emotions, the unconscious patterns, does not simply disappear. On the contrary, they act silently, shaping your life without your awareness. It's like a program running in the background that, even though you can't see it, controls the most important decisions you make. Imagine for a moment receiving a book containing every thought you've repeated over the last month. What would you find in those pages? Would there be more words of encouragement or of concern? This mental exercise isn't meant to judge you, but to invite you to reflect on the type of narrative you are writing for your own life. The good news is that you can change this narrative. You don't need grand gestures or drastic transformations. Sometimes it all starts with a different word. Perhaps today, instead of telling yourself, "I can't," you choose to whisper, "I will try." Maybe tomorrow, instead of focusing on what went wrong, you choose to acknowledge what you did well. Every word you choose carries weight, and that weight builds or destroys. A practical exercise that can help you transform your internal dialogue is the use of conscious affirmations. These aren't empty phrases that you repeat thoughtlessly, but intentional statements that plant seeds of confidence and clarity in your mind. For example, instead of thinking, "This is too hard," you can say, "I can learn what I need to overcome this." It's not about ignoring difficulties, but changing how you relate to them. As you practice this shift, something begins to stir within you. It's as if a part of your being, the one that always knew what you are capable of, starts to awaken. This isn't a loud or dramatic awakening, but a subtle yet constant feeling, like a little fire igniting and beginning to grow. This inner fire not only illuminates your strengths, but also helps you see more clearly the areas of your life that need attention. Perhaps you realize that you've neglected your health, postponed your dreams, or accepted relationships that don't nourish your growth. These realizations may be uncomfortable at first, but they are the first step toward creating a life more aligned with who you truly are. It's like cleaning a window that has been covered in dust for years. At first, you may not realize how much it blocked your view, but as you wipe away the dust, you start to see the landscape with greater clarity, and what you discover on the other side may surprise you. Possibilities that have always been there, but you couldn't perceive. This raises a powerful question. What possibility are you ready to start seeing? Perhaps it's a project you've always wanted to start, a relationship you need to heal, or a skill you've been avoiding developing. Whatever it is, remember that there's no right or wrong path, only the one you choose to take. Jung spoke of the concept of individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are, beyond external expectations. It's not an easy journey, as it involves shedding the masks you've worn for years and facing your deepest fears. But it's also the most liberating journey you can embark on. It's the path to a life where every decision, every relationship, and every experience resonates with authenticity. An important step in this process is learning to differentiate between what you truly want and what you think you should want. Often, our goals are influenced by the opinions of others, by what society has taught us to value. However, when you allow yourself to listen to your own voice, you discover that your true desires can be very different. To connect with that inner voice, try a reflective writing exercise. Take a piece of paper and answer this question. If I weren't afraid of failure, what would I do with my life? Write without overthinking, let the words flow. What you find on that page may surprise you, but it can also give you clues about where to direct your energy. The more you connect with yourself, the more you realize that you don't need to rush. Life isn't a race, nor a clock that ticks down a deadline. Every step you take, even the smallest ones, is part of the process. It's like planting a tree. It doesn't grow any faster if you watch it anxiously. But if you care for it, water it, and give it light, one day, you'll notice that its roots are strong and its branches reach for the sky. What would happen if you chose to walk through life with that same patience and confidence? How would your experience change if you trusted that everything you need is already within you, waiting to be discovered? The answer isn't somewhere outside of you, but in every moment you decide to take a step forward, even if you can't clearly see the whole path. Imagine that everything you're experiencing is a reflection of what you carry inside you. Every challenge, every uncomfortable emotion, and every interaction acts as a mirror, reflecting back the pieces you need to understand yourself better. Not to punish you, but to guide you toward a more conscious and fulfilled version of yourself. The power doesn't lie in changing the outside world, but in adjusting how you perceive it. By transforming your inner self, reality changes with you. Every moment, no matter how small, is an opportunity to walk with more confidence, peace, and clarity, reminding you that true strength has always been within you.